Hey guys, and welcome to a ridiculously close game of domination. I'm a Rubber Duck War, but today we'll be taking a look at Sleepy Lion and his mighty Grand Cathay forces. Big fan of the sub-faction he's picked as well. Their colour scheme is gorgeous. Taking on Kislev in some man-on-man violence. This is Battle of Itza, probably my favourite domination map so far, and it's definitely because it is just full of lizardmen, wonder, and glory, and I can't wait to get the Skinky Boys into game number 3. But today, it's going to be an absolute scrap. I'm pretty sure you guys aren't ready for how disgustingly close this game actually is, so let's delve into it. For the forces of Grand Cathay, of Sleepy Lion himself, he's gone really wide here, so a load of Jade Warrior Halberds, a load of Peasant Longspearmen, and Jade Warriors make up a big, fat, juicy frontline formation. In the back, we have double Crane Gunners. Big fan of Crane Gunners in general. For those unaware, for some reason, I don't know why you'd be unaware of this by now, but they're basically Warlock Jezzails, which can be quite good on open maps like the Battle of Itza. We have some cavalry in the back in the form of some Jade Lancers. It looks like some Jade Warrior Crossbowmen will be added to the ranks as well. And leading the battle line shall be a dragon-blooded Shugonen Lord of Yin Magic, coming in with all the usual suspects, Ancestral Warriors, as well as the nasty Dragon Air of Effect spell, Talons of Night. The force of Kislev looks like they've gone relatively similar, quite wide, with a load of mid and to low tier infantry. We have just a bucket ton of armored Corsairs, basic Corsairs, Corsairs with spears, make up a nice mobile force down on the ground. We also have a couple of Little Groms. Big fan of Little Grom in general. Got two of the bad boys today in the back. On the far side, we have some winged Lancers. And in the center, leading the battle charge, we do have a Frost Maiden of Ice Magic coming in with just Heart of Winter. Such a powerful spell, particularly in domination mode. And then we have the Mad Lad himself, Constantine, coming in with Tor's Battle Hymn, as well as the Song of Winter Sunlight and the Lullaby. Pretty cool stuff. Without further ado, let's get into this. And Little Grom is lacing shots down range here, exploding the skulls of Jade Warriors and peasants alike. It doesn't matter your rank, Little Grom shall feast upon any and all souls. It looks like the Crane Gunners have started to open up a bit of return fire, though, trying to take down the Little Groms. Little Grom, though, can pull back here and use that added range to pick apart the Grand Cathay build. On the left-hand side, it looks like we have some Jade Warrior Halberds starting to line up with some Peasant Longspearmen. Could definitely push up here towards Objective 2 with only Winged Lancers guards, and of course they will get dragged down by the Halberd and Spear units of Grand Cathay, and it's going to be a relatively slow start. Both guys gone very, very infantry heavy, slowly marching towards each other, and now we have bow on pistol action. Armored Corsairs are well prepared to take on the forces of Cathay here, unleashing deadly salvos into those poor peasants. Look at that health just drip away from them. I love Corsairs, man. There's something so badass about a warrior in full heavy metal, but still knows how to whip out a Glock on you and start popping some shots. It looks like Tanzanite will be brought forth from the underground onto these armored Corsairs as mighty dragon talons will come up and rip and tear into the Kislev forces, dragging down many down to a murky death there. With a bit of a fight, Jade Lancers receive a nasty charge from the Winged Lancers, and trust me, Winged Lancers are the better of the two cavalry, which they definitely should be in the lore. Going to be a big, fat, lovely surround. Looks like Jade Lancers will be going down here. There's also potential for some bow or gun support, but looks like they're mainly focused in this middle fight. And in the early days, both factions have taken significant damage. All the infantry for Kislev getting rather beat up, and it seems like a similar situation for Grand Cathay, though the Crane Gunners, looks like there is a freeness for those bad boys now, have stopped trying to take down Little Groms, who simply retreated back to the safety of their deployment zone. We do have the Sky Junk being summoned here by the Grand Cathay player. Clearly a man of class and culture. Jade Warriors break in the middle, and it looks like Kislev got a real dominant hold here in the center. Objective 1 is theirs, and the poor crossbowmen getting absolutely obliterated by Little Grom there. Jade Warrior Halberds in a defensive formation at the moment. Looks like Grand Cathay quite happy to trade range fighting up against Kislev in the early stages of the battle here. The Sky Junks will start raining shots down. Actually a decent unit up against Kislev in general. Ancestral Warriors have been summoned from their eternal slumber to bring pain to the Winged Lancers, who initially got a good engagement on the Jade Lancers, have now been surrounded, and their escape path is leading them straight through these anti-large Warriors of Vengeance. That's going to be the majority of the Winged Lancers killed. In fact, they may die to the last man here, which isn't what you'd like to see, of course, as a Kislev fan. Objective 2 is about to be claimed by Grand Cathay, Peasant Longspearmen on the approach. In the main fight, it is getting pretty thick, juicy, and bloody. Zargard are decapitating some Jade Warriors where they stand. Not going to be too hard there for the elite of the elite from the Kislev forces, particularly with the mighty Constantine just spittle flying from his mouth as he bellows out orders for Urson, for the great bear god stand, men of Kislev. Looks like the Ancestral Warriors doing a decent job ripping apart Corsairs, though, who are quite far away from those battle cries and hymns of the mighty Lord himself. Crane Gunners are unleashing shots now, looking to pick apart the enemy on Objective 3, and it looks like we do have a cheeky early double cap here for Grand Cathay. Likewise, the Sky Junk is making its presence known, getting a little bit closer to the action, where it can use its dodgy accuracy at long range a little bit better, and it will really obliterate infantry. Look at the damage it does per volley, and now that it has more ammunition, it is certainly a viable unit. With Halberds moving up around the flank, we also have some Jade Warriors who probably want to rear attack into the Kossar Spears. They are going to do that, charging headlong down into the madness as Talons up here, shredding Zargod and Corsairs alike. Maybe a little bit of friendly fire on Jade Warriors, but who cares when you're taking down the best of the best the opponent has to offer, though the middle objective is very contested. Still looks like Kislev have a pretty firm grasp on it. Objective 3, though, is all Cathay, baby. Look how many Peasant Longspearmen we have here. Got a few Armoured Corsairs, got Zargod on the approach as well. I like this play by the Kislev player. Get some of the elite boys over there who can really carve their way through a lot of the peasants quite quickly. Little Groms continuing to fire, and the middle is very hotly contested. We can see some of the drops, the explosive drops coming out of the Sky Junk's booty there, dropping down on the Corsairs, maybe even enough to break them. And if the Celestial Dragon Guard can really force them onto this objective, I could certainly see it Grand Cathay maybe even going for an early triple cap here. Dervishes are being taken down by Peasant Horsemen. However, a second unit of Dervishes have snuck through the front line and are really making the Crane Gunners flee for their lives. Luckily, a lovely, snappy counter pick there comes in as the Cathay players summon some Peasant Horsemen to counter-charge into the Dervishes. And now we have an absolute damp noodle fight going in the back. Both those cavalry units pretty poor, but they're cheap. And hey, that's what you get them for. Harass enemy backline and jumping on objectives. It looks like another drop does come down on the Zargard, and it looks like for the most part Kislev have been forced all the way to the back of Objective 1, but a Heart of Winter comes in. That's going to be enough to freeze the Celestial Dragon Guard, and their skin will be sticking to the metal, blistering and burning from the pain of the ice. As the Jade Warriors are attempting their best here, although the Zargard with Heart of Winter on them, yeah, this objective is all Kislev, baby. We were born in the cold, you merely adopted it, and they will certainly be able to easily overwhelm the Jade Warriors and the Celestial Dragon Guard. Cathay have been a little bit too passive here. I'd like to see them get a little more aggressive onto these objectives, so they are trying to play the long game, get the Crane Gunners to do their damage to the enemy where possible, and then total them in the end game. We have Peasant Horsemen over here. It looks like the Dragonblood Lord has survived, pushing over towards Objective 3, which is currently held by Grand Cathay, but only just. We do get some heavy war sleds in the action. A well-placed Storm of Shadows is going to slow them significantly and allow them to be caught by Peasant Horsemen, as well as some Crane Gunner firing. Lovely utility and synergy coming in by the Grand Cathay players' army. But the light war sleds are freed up here, charging headlong into the peasants, overwhelming them. This objective may well fall to Kislev. In fact, it does. It is a double cap for Kislev now for the first time in the game. Heavy war sleds are going to be moving forwards, looking to engage with the enemy long spears and hopefully contest that left-hand side. Double Zargard in the middle, looking to push back the Celestial Dragon Guard. There's a decent amount of Crane Gunner support, though, and Jade Warriors also on the march. With a Heart of Winter coming in. Oh my god, devastating shots from the Sky Junk, though, into the rear of those Zargard. Another Heart of Winter should enable them to beat back the Celestial Dragon troops. It is only a basic one, not Overcast, so I'd almost always recommend Overcast and Heart of Winter. You think you get like 50% extra damage or something insane for like only 4 extra Winter Magic or something bananas like that. Jade Lancers have forced their way on, and it does look a little bit suspect in the middle for Kislev now. Grand Cathay have a lot of force on the field that could push up and start to take it. Objective 2 is well and truly in the hands of these Peasant Long Spearmen. Jade Warriors need to get mobile and move down towards the middle objective. Sky Junk dropping those fat nukes down on the Zargard, not having a good day, and the Celestial Dragon Guard are doing just about enough to overwhelm them, with a big push coming in from Jade Warriors and Celestial Dragon Guard coming in on the middle. Objective 3, though, is looking quite secure, I would argue, now for Kislev. Grand Cathay held this for large parts of the start of the battle, but yeah, Armoured Corsairs, Zargard, War Sleds, they are overwhelming this, and it is looking really bad for Grand Cathay, currently being double capped. However, the points relatively even. It's been a very, very close and hotly contested game so far, and that will continue to go all the way on. Heavy war sleds are going to be able to jump the Crane Gunners in the back, and it looks like finally the Kislev player is going to have his way and overwhelm the Crane Gunners, who've been firing consistently all battle long, getting some really nice value and decent damage. It does look like, unfortunately, the mighty bear worshipping maniac himself did take down the Grand Cathay Lord there. Sky Junk continue to pour shots on to Kislev, on their infantry wherever possible. Objective 1 has gone back into their hands of the Tsar Guard, making a desperate stand here on the edge of the objective. Fought for so long, overwhelming numbers, but much like the Spartans at Thermopylae, they are continuing to fight to the last man and are trying their hardest to hold back the Dragon Guard. We also have some light war sleds on the approach and wing lancers charging in. Should be enough for Kislev to start wrestling back this objective, which has been fought over the entire game so far. Up on objective 2, it looks like we do have armored corsairs on the warpath. They should have enough about them to overwhelm the peasant longspearmen. Looks like they're taking the safe approach so far and obliterating them from range before moving in to hand-to-hand combat. Not a bad idea, because you can see they're well placed to stop the corsairs actually getting on top of that objective. We have some Jade Warriors going back there to hopefully hold it in the name of the Grand Cathay and their Dragon Emperor. Frostmaid is doing a decent job just bouncing around. She's against Jade Warrior Halberds right now, so doesn't want to stick there for too long. And the Mad Lad himself is trying to hold back a tide of long spears as well as halberds, which is not really going to favour him too much. There are corsairs moving in, but this middle objective is starting to be held by Grand Cathay once again. Still holding on just about to the double cap for now. We take a little look at objective 2. There's only 1 unit of armoured corsairs here. If I'm the Cathay player, I'm probably going to start applying a little bit of pressure to this. There was Zargard moving and rotating back to the middle objective, which they're really struggling to take Kislev at the moment. Were intercepted by some peasant horsemen. Lovely play by both players. Seems like the little Groms use up their ammo. One has been resummoned into the action and is launching shots in, and now the Grand Cathay forces are really bunched up. This is where you'd love to see a Heart of Winter. A big fat juicy overcast one would do devastating damage, and just as I say that, no way. I think this is going to be a harder winter. It is not an overcast one, though, and it looks like real nice micromanagement here by the Grand Cathay player. It's going to be able to dodge the worst of the value, but it does spread them out, save his liege lord, and hey, damage is damage at the end of the day. Middle objective is once again starting to be claimed by Kislev, and likewise is objective number 2. We do have the potential for a triple cap for the Kislev forces, and they do need it being behind on tickets. Armored Corsairs move in to help claim the objective. Heavy war sleds are here for now. Peasant Horsemen will not have the same capture weight as Armored Corsairs, unfortunately, though there are more troops on arrival. Jade Warriors in the form of halberds and basic units. Middle objective is starting to fall for Kislev. Objective 3 is being fought over once more. We have Peasant Longspearmen here. More Peasant Horsemen all starting to flood into this objective. This has been the most insane, just back and forth game. No objective is safe. Skyjunk applying so much pressure to the infantry, but with the Zargard rotating around the objectives, they will be able to claim objective 1 here, particularly with more Corsairs on the approach. Bonkers stuff so far. Jade Warriors are pushing out. It looks like so is the Mad Chad himself, and Little Grom is even on the objective. Objective 2 is currently being held by the mighty forces of Kislev. It looks like some dervishes being sacrificed just to pin the enemy at bay to allow the armored corsairs to claim this objective. We may get a nasty triple cap. Kislev, Kislev, Kislev. They have the triple. Very close stuff so far. Crane gunners continue to pelt the enemy from afar, trying to take down that absolute maniac lad himself. And they've certainly got a bit of a number on him now, down to about half HP. The Little Grom is still vibing in the middle. Corsairs also moving up, and objective 1 looking relatively secure for Kislev. But I said that so many times throughout the battle, and the objectives are just swung back and forth. Triple cavalry here. Looks like all just, I know, one of them is Peasant Longspear and the other one double Peasant Horseman, but the Peasant coalition here of troops was able to claim objective 3 for Grand Cathay, and they needed that quickly because the enemy is really starting to dominate the battlefield a little bit here. Halberds are pushing up, as well as crane guns who are nearly out of ammo. I'd either get them off the field at this point or just yeet them towards objectives and have those bodies to try to hopefully claim them in the name of Grand Cathay. Jade Warriors continue to fire. Peasant Longspearmen in here moving in. Little Grom, though, is nearby, supported by Armoured Corsairs and Basic Corsairs, who are starting to pelt the Skyjunk, and eventually that balloon will burst. And when it does, it will go down in a fiery convocation of death. We have some Wing Lancers rotating over. Looks like they were going to apply a bit of pressure to Objective 3. At least they hope so. They can move into Objective 1 in an attempt to claim it and keep it from Cathay's clutches. Objective 2 is also being fought over, though it looks like Grand Cathay is about to dominate it. So much infantry and cavalry is flooding all over the battlefield, and Objective 2 shall be theirs. But is it a little too late? It looks like they're currently still just about in the lead, but Kislev are about to take over here, and the Armoured Corsairs attempt to hold this site with the help of the Dervishes. I don't think it's going to be enough for Kislev. Grand Cathay will get Objective 2. Likewise, the middle has been hotly fought over, but Kislev still seem to be doing the business. We have Winged Lancers holding their shields high, but the peasants are aiming low into those low blows and taking out the horses themselves. Armoured Corsairs should be enough to beat back the Peasant Long Spearmen, particularly with so many more Corsairs and even Zargard here in the center. Cathay are flooding troops over from Objective 3 to Objective 1. Such a close game. Kislev, 4,900 tickets, 4,850 for Grand Cathay. Both players desperately fighting over multiple objectives. Objective 2, though, is Grand Cathay's, and Kislev holding out on that central objective. Is it going to be enough? It looks like they're going to be able to hold it. They are 990 tickets to 980, and they both hit 5,000 tickets at the exact same time. Woo! That was wild. Absolutely insane game from both these lads. Massive shout out to Sleepy Lion for sending this one in. I think this is the first draw I've ever cast on Warhammer 3 and maybe even Warhammer 2. And maybe I cast one before, but that only happens when like the timer ticks out. That was bananas. Every objective was fought over hotly the entire game. They went back and forth constantly, but in the end there was nothing which could separate the two players. And really it's going to be the Chaos Gods laughing as their opponents do destroy each other. Very well played, some wild stuff for sure. I love to see it. Hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up. Subscribe as well for more content into the future. It really helps support the channel. And comment down below what you thought of the glorious battle and what you'd like to see in the future. That is one of my favourite games that I've cast so far in Domination, particularly since the patch update. I've been really enjoying the Dom games, and that was cream of the crop right there. I'll delve into the damage value and stuff in a second, but if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, I do have a link to Patreon down below, as well as my Discord where you can submit replays just like Sleepy Lion did here today. As for his forces, 1.3k on his general, not shabby, 820 on the Jade Lancers, 1.4k and 1.1k on the Crane Gunners, who are firing constantly all battle, really were a thorn in the side of Kislev's forces in the early game. 800 value on the Halberds, looks like 300, 1.8k, decent across the board from the infantry. They were mainly used to obviously flood on top of objectives. 2.7k value for the Skyjunk, very impressive work. 253 kills, very scary up against Kislev forces. The Strand Guard didn't do too much, 1.6k on the other Crane Gunners. 1.2 on this, Halberd is pretty impressive. Is there any other standouts? I do like the mass Peasant Horsemen. They really helped with capture weight and capturing objectives quickly. 1.2 on the Mad Chad of the Great Bear God himself. 1.7k on the Frost Maiden, solely pretty much coming in from those harder winters. The first one was really devastating. Just shy of 1,000 value on Little Grom with 150 kills. 900 on the Wing Lancers, and yeah, the infantry did pretty solid. Getting 1,000 value here, 1,400 with 200 kills. 1.2k on some Corsair Spears. Of course, they were summoned in multiple times. Another 1,000, nearly 100 kills. Little Grom number 2, 1,685 gold value, 200 kills. 1.1 and 600 on the heavy war sleds. It is a Chad player who brings a heavy war sled over a light war sled. You gotta love it. 125 kills as well. Really helped out with the infantry in the mid to late games. Likewise, the Tsar Guard were a staple for Kislev here. Really keeping the enemy at bay for as long as possible. 118 kills, 48 kills, and 122. And the Dervishers did their job, hunting down the enemy back line and capping objectives. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.